good to have you on Dott TV Midday News. I am Ife Arono. We begin in Delta State as civil servants in the state have received a major abuse as Governor Sheriff Oberewori announced new welfare measures at the 2026 Public Service Week celebration in Asaba. The governor says the move is aimed at rewarding hard work and strengthening the state public service. Priscilla Ifani reports.
Delta State Governor Sheriff Oberewori has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to workers' welfare with the approval of the 13th month salary for civil servants in the state for the 2026 fiscal year. The governor, who made the announcement during the 2026 Public Service Week dinner and awards night in Asaba, became the first governor in Delta State to approve a 13th month salary for civil servants. He also approved a threefold increase in the cash prizes for outstanding public servants in recognition of excellence and dedicated service. Governor Oberewori described the event as an opportunity to celebrate excellence, assess the progress of public service, and inspire greater productivity. He noted that the theme of this year's celebration, reforms, resilience, and results, aligns with his administration's more agenda, stressing that meaningful reforms can only succeed when workers are adequately motivated, properly equipped, and fully supported.
As we celebrate this accomplishment, we remain mindful of the welfare needs of our workforce. Housing remains a priority area for this administration, and we will continue to explore practical solutions, including strategic partnerships to expand access to affordable housing for public servants. Let us renew our commitment to reform, strengthen our resilience, and remain focused on the delivering results for the people of Delta State. I want to make a promise here. It is my prayer that I will be the first governor to initiate the 13 months salary.
Earlier, the state head of service, Dr. Minimi Museji, said the 2026 Public Service Week offered an opportunity for reflection, professional development, institutional collaboration, and recognition of excellence among public servants.
I am the only state head of service posting on the platform about celebration of the 2026 Public Service Week. All I can say is that money is talking, blessings on blessings, and for a state where the administration does not borrow, we can now claim that we are the undefeated, undisputed, unopposed #1 state in promoting an efficient and effective public service in the country. Any other state that organizes a public service week henceforth will have to queue behind Delta State.
The high point of the event was the presentation of awards to outstanding civil servants. Abuga Dennis of the Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources emerged as the best civil servant farmer, while two other workers received an award for their exceptional punctuality and commitment to duty. Reporting from Asaba, Priscilla Ifani, Dott TV News.
The Delta State government, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, has marked its first International Albinism Awareness Day, reaffirming its commitment to inclusion, equality, and the protection of persons with albinism. The event, with the theme "Proudly in My Skin," brought together government officials, advocacy groups, and persons with albinism to celebrate diversity and promote equal opportunities for all. Victoria Monday completes the report.
The celebration underscored the dignity, rights, and abilities of persons with albinism. Participants called for greater public awareness to address stigma, misconception, and discrimination associated with the condition. The Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Girl Child Development, Honorable Pat Ajudua, reaffirmed the state government's commitment under Governor Sheriff Oberewori to building an inclusive society where every citizen is treated with dignity, respect, and equal opportunity.
People living with albinism have been stigmatized. They have been having this feeling of exclusion and inferiority. And so going by the order of the day, starting from United Nations to what Nigeria is doing, by the principle of inclusivity, Delta State has decided to flow along by making sure that those living with albinism are included both in government and in everything we do. Today on, people living with albinism are free to exercise and express their rights in Delta State.
Stakeholders also call for improved access to healthcare, quality education, employment, and stronger protection against discrimination. They urge families, schools, and community to embrace and support persons with ableism while promoting inclusion and equal participation.
We appreciate the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. I know there's a lot more that can be done, but the awareness has been created today. A number of people will see it will now begin to make come up with plans and programs to support this initiative. So the awareness has to go to every nook and cranny, churches, schools, so that the parents will also hear about it. Once they are aware, they can always go to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to get more information on what they can do to help the children.
Albinism is not something contagious. It's just an impairment. It's something that had to do with the pigmentation in the system, and we need to understand that whatever color that you have, whether you are with albinism or you are dark or whatever color that you have, we should be proud of it.
Persons with ableism at the event expressed appreciation to the Delta State government for recognizing their challenges and celebrating their achievements. They described the event as a step forward in raising awareness, challenging stereotype, and boosting confidence. As the Delta State joined the global push for the rights and inclusion of persons with ableism, stakeholders say sustained awareness, education, and public support are key to ending discrimination and ensuring equal opportunities for all. Reporting from Asaba, Victoria Monday, Dott TV News.
And on a disturbing note, the Nigerian police have arrested a 31-year-old man, Michael Oyewale, for allegedly killing his girlfriend, a 21-year-old final-year law student of the University of Port Harcourt, following a dispute over marriage in Warri, Delta State. According to the Delta State Commissioner of Police, Yemi Oyeniyi, the suspect allegedly invited his girlfriend, Habibatu Arua, from Port Harcourt to Warri for a short visit. During her stay, an argument reportedly broke out after the victim discovered that the suspect was already married, despite discussions about marriage between them.
On receipt of the information, the DPO led detective to the scene where the victim was seen in a pool of her blood. She was taken to the hospital and was confirmed dead on arrival. The suspect, one Adedamola Michael Oyewale, aged 31 years, was arrested. The suspect stated that the argument started when deceased found out that he is married to a woman based in the United States of America. And in the process of the argument, he stabbed her on the neck, stomach, and thighs. Suspect is in custody and investigation is ongoing.
Similarly, the Delta State Police Command has arrested the driver of Bishop Chinedu James, along with other suspects over the alleged murder of his employer.
The driver fled the state immediately after committing the dastardly act. On 13th of May 2026, working in synergy with Anambra State Command, the suspect was arrested. He attempted to sell the Land Cruiser belonging to the bishop. Anambra State Police Command carried preliminary investigation and handed over to the suspect to Delta State Police Command. Further investigation revealed that the suspect, before carrying out this act, was earlier employed by a company in Rivers State. While working there, he made away with their vehicle, a 2016 model Toyota Corolla, sold it and disappeared. The suspect has been charged to court for the case of suspected murder.
On efforts to combat kidnapping, the command said 4 suspected kidnappers had been arrested, while 18 kidnapped victims were rescued, including a 3-year-old child. According to the police, their child was allegedly abducted by the tricycle rider who usually conveyed her to school.
The suspect later identified as Ilyasu Hassan, 16 years old, and Idris Abdul Karim, aged 32 years, were arrested on 22nd June 2026 at about 20:30 hours after emerging from a nearby forest to purchase food and medication. Following the arrest, the victim of an earlier kidnapping incident identified the suspect as part of those who attempted to kidnap him. Effort to arrest other members of the gang is similarly ongoing.
Still on the issue of kidnapping, a civil advocacy group, the Ogara Study Group, has raised alarm over worsening insecurity in Ogara Kingdom, Ethiop West local government area of Delta State, following the killing of a kidnapped man after his family reportedly paid a ransom. The victim was abducted alongside his wife, who later escaped, but he was allegedly murdered despite the payment. Speaking at a press conference in Warri, the group's co-convener David Ugolo and Ogenerona Ewere said kidnapping, banditry and killings have become frequent in the area. They noted that many victims have been killed before or even after ransom payments, leaving families devastated and residents living in fear. The group listed several recent incidents, including kidnappings and killings recorded between January and June 2026 across Ogara and neighboring communities. It warned that their persistent attacks are disrupting farming, business, education, healthcare, and other economic activities while undermining confidence in the area's security system. The Ogara Study Group called on the federal government, the Delta State government, and the Ethiop West Local Government Council to urgently strengthen security in the area. It urged the deployment of more security personnel, better support for community vigilante groups, thorough investigations into recent attacks, and improved security infrastructure to protect lives and restore public confidence. We move now to Edo State, and of course the state has demolished a building allegedly linked to a suspected kidnap kingpin in Obagye, Nevubosa community, Obaoka local government area, as part of its campaign against kidnapping and violent crime. According to the state government, security operatives identified the property as a location where kidnapped victims were allegedly held before being moved elsewhere. The suspect, identified as Solomon Johnson, is currently in police custody. The Edo State Security Squad said the suspect and his gang allegedly terrorized residents and recently demanded an 11 million naira ransom from a kidnapped victim. Authorities also claimed the gang planned to abduct the victim's wife before security operatives arrested the suspect. The demolition, officials said, is intended to send a strong warning to criminal groups operating in the state. During interrogation, Johnson, who described himself as a bricklayer from Delta State, allegedly admitted working for a man identified only as Efe. He claimed his role was to sell phones, laptops, and other valuables allegedly stolen from kidnapping victims in return for commissions. The government also announced plans to engage community heads known as Okareles on improving resident profiling and community security. Still ahead on the midday news on Dott TV, federal government to train 5,000 youth for smart meter installations. Also, Dangote Petroleum Refinery reduces its ex-gantry price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, by 50 naira plus. Foreign and sports stories coming up after the short time out. Don't go away.
In the heart of Asaba, where the street tells the stories every single day.
From the corridors of powers to the decisions shaping governance and politics in Delta and Nigeria.
From traders counting every naira to families battling rising costs and uncertain times.
From football pitches to sporting successes to the major developments making the headlines all over the world.
And from the untold human stories, the struggles, victories, resilience, and hope of the everyday Nigerians.
This is the news beyond the headlines. Dott TV News are your trusted window to stories that truly matter to the people. Here, we don't just report events, we tell the human stories behind them. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has launched Power Force, a national initiative to train 5,000 young Nigerians as smart electricity meter installers. The program, implemented through the Presidential Metering Initiative in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Youth Development, aims to accelerate the rollout of smart meters, create jobs, and support ongoing reforms in Nigeria's power sector. According to the Executive Secretary of the Presidential Metering Initiative, Olu Vehijen, applications will open on July 4, and the first training phase will begin in Abuja later this month. Participants will receive technical training from the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, while certification will be supervised by the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency. Successful trainees will be linked to employment opportunities with electricity distribution companies, meter providers, and other industry partners. The program is expected to address the shortage of skilled meter installers while helping to reduce estimated billing, improve revenue collection, and strengthen customer confidence in the electricity sector. Applications for the first cohort will remain open for 2 weeks, with further training phases planned across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. While the federal government has unveiled 23 solar mini-grid projects that are now providing electricity to about 50,000 Nigerians in rural communities. Speaking at the launch of the Africa Mini-Grids program pilot phase in Abuja, the Minister of Power, Joseph Tebwe, said the projects will supply electricity to more than 20,000 households, as well as businesses, schools, healthcare centers, and agricultural processing facilities. Tebwe described the initiative as a major step toward expanding access to electricity and strengthening Nigeria's energy sector. He said the mini-grids are already transforming lives and local economies, stressing that renewable energy, particularly solar power, is now a key part of the country's electricity generation strategy, rather than just an alternative source of power. The managing director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, said reliable electricity is key to growth, innovation, healthcare, and agriculture, with a program targeting farming and agro-processing to boost jobs in underserved areas. The Africa Mini-Grids program, funded by the Global Environment Facility and run by UNDP, with the Rural Electrification Agency in 21 countries, has Nigeria as its flagship market. Nigeria is set for a second phase to expand clean energy and support agriculture, health, education, digital services, and green industries. Now, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has reduced its ex-gantry price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, by 50 naira, bringing the price down from 1,125 naira to 1,075 naira per liter. This is the refinery's second price reduction in 1 week, following an earlier cut from 1,175 naira to 1,125 naira per liter. The refinery also lowered its coastal loading price to 1,075 naira per liter, matching the ex-gantry rate. In addition, it has ended its 20-member consortium arrangement, allowing all qualified marketers to load products directly from its gantry and coastal terminals to improve market access and distribution. Industry observers say the latest reduction is expected to increase competition in Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector and could lead to lower pump prices at filling stations, particularly those sourcing fuel directly from the Dangote refinery. The development comes as the federal government maintains that petrol prices in the deregulated market will be determined by competition and market forces. Regulators have also urged operators to maintain fair pricing practices so consumers can benefit from increased domestic refining and improved product supply. And now to the foreign scene where Emeka Okonkwo is standing by with the updates.
Millions of people across the eastern United States are facing dangerous heat and humidity ahead of the 4th of July holiday, with temperatures reaching around 38 Celsius and heat index values making it feel as hot as 46 Celsius in cities including Washington, Philadelphia, and New York. The National Weather Service has warned that the prolonged heat with little overnight cooling poses serious health risks. The extreme weather is affecting major holiday events, including America's 250th birthday celebrations, outdoor World Cup matches, and Independence Day activities. Authorities have limited attendance at some outdoor rehearsals in Washington because of the heat, while officials are urging residents to stay indoors, keep hydrated, and avoid prolonged exposure to the sun. In Germany, a dramatic weather phenomenon was captured over southern Germany after a large water spout formed above a lake near the city of Friedrichshafen. Witnesses watched as the towering column of rotating water and clouds stretched from the sky to the lake's surface, creating a striking spectacle that lasted between 5 and 10 minutes. The event occurred on Wednesday and drew the attention of residents and visitors, many of whom recorded the rare occurrence on their phones. Despite its impressive appearance, there were no immediate reports of injuries or significant damage linked to the water spout. According to Germany's National Weather Service, water spouts are relatively uncommon in the country, occurring only about 2 to 3 times each year. They typically develop when unstable atmospheric conditions combine with warm water and rotating air, producing a tornado-like column over a body of water. Russia has launched one of its largest aerial assaults on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, killing at least 30 people and injuring more than 90. Ukrainian officials say nearly 500 drones and more than 70 missiles were fired across the country overnight, with dozens striking targets despite air defenses intercepting most of the incoming weapons. Rescue teams continue searching through collapsed buildings as authorities fear the death toll could rise. The attack caused widespread destruction across Kyiv, damaging residential apartment blocks, an ambulance station, a research institute, a hotel, and other civilian sites. Thousands of residents, including many children, spent the night sheltering in the city's metro stations as air raid sirens sounded for about 11 hours. Finally, an international police operation across 7 countries has uncovered organized online networks where men allegedly drug and sexually assault women, often their own partners, while using encrypted chat groups to coordinate attacks, share abuse videos, and exchange advice on avoiding detection. Authorities say many victims were unconscious during the assault and only learned what had happened after being contacted by police. The investigation, known as Project Medusa, was launched by European law enforcement with support from agencies in the United States, Brazil, Canada, France, Hungary, the Netherlands, and Spain. Since April, investigators have identified more than 150 suspected offenders and victims, opened over 270 new investigative leads, and arrested 57 people. Officials warn the true scale of the crimes is likely far greater because many cases go unreported. The operation follows the widely publicized case of Cécile Pellicotte in France, whose former husband was convicted of organizing repeated rapes while she was unconscious. It also comes after investigative reporting exposed online communities where members allegedly encouraged and instructed one another on how to drug and sexually assault women. Authorities say these criminal networks exploit encrypted messaging platforms to normalize abuse, exchange illegal drugs, and coordinate attacks. Law enforcement agencies are urging anyone who believes they may have been a victim of drug-facilitated sexual assault to come forward, emphasizing that international cooperation is essential to identifying offenders and protecting potential victims. Emeka Okonkwo reporting for Dott TV News.
And for the latest from the exciting world of sports, here is Anthony Uche.
There will be an Iberian derby in the last 16 of the ongoing FIFA World Cup as Spain and Portugal book their places in contrasting circumstances. Spain, in the day's first game, brushed a hapless Austrian team aside by 3-0 in Los Angeles. Mikel Oyarzabal took his goal tally to 4 with the second brace of the tournament, with right back Pedro Porro rounding off the scoring. That was Spain's first knockout victory at the World Cup since winning it in 2010, and they are yet to concede a goal so far in this tournament, a feat only shared by co-hosts Mexico. Portugal fell behind early in the second half against Croatia in Toronto, but managed to recover and hold on for the win to book a place against Spain in the last 16. The game burst into life following a largely uneventful first half in the 53rd minute when Ivan Perisic fired past Portugal goalkeeper Diogo Costa. Croatia, however, considered a penalty when Nikola Vlasic wrestled Portuguese defender Renato Vieira to the ground, and Cristiano Ronaldo equalized from the spot with his first ever World Cup knockout goal before Gonzalo Ramos scored the winner in the 94th minute. In the last game of the day, Africa's last 32 nightmare continued as Algeria lost to Switzerland by 2-0 to bow out of the tournament. Early goals in either half by Bril Mbolo and Dan Ndoye condemned their former coach Vladimir Petkovic and his Algerian side to a second and last defeat at this year's World Cup. Now to basketball, where the Tigers began their journey to Qatar for the 2027 FIBA World Cup on a positive note, following a narrow 84-81 victory over Tunisia on Thursday in Luanda, Angola. Winning 3 of 4 quarters in what was Coach David Fidel's first competitive outing. Chimezie Metu and Ike Iruebu led the scoring with 17 points apiece, 3 points ahead of Wes Iwundu, who racked up 14. The Nigerians will be back in action today against Guinea, with the last game of this qualification round coming on the 5th of July against Rwanda. From the sports desk, Anthony Uche for Dott TV News.
And that's it on the midday news on Dott TV. Follow Dott TV across social media on the handle at official.tv. I am Ife Arono. Thanks for joining us. Keep watching Dott TV.